Hey everyone, it's Seth Rudetsky back here on Seth Speaks. I still get these Facebook messages saying, "Hey, I'm coming to New York in February. Can I see your show?" I like that I get the interest, but I literally basically post the day before because I get a panicked email from SiriusXM saying, "Please God, post." So the point is, you have to just follow me like on Facebook or Twitter, and the shows are either Tuesday or Wednesday. So just start following me from Wednesday to Tuesday, and then you can totally ignore me after that. But if you want to come to the show, just follow me, and I'll always post something. Any to the who. Oh my God, it's going to be an amazing day because we have Andrea Kandel from NCCJ. Hey! By the way, I have allergies. That's why the voice is horrific. Okay, so here's the deal. So we're doing Concert for America every single month, for these 5 great nonprofits. And then we got an email from Hartford, where I do shows at the Bush now, where I kind of introduce the new season, saying that this woman, Andrea Kandel from NCCJ, wants to team up with us. And we're like, who's Andrea? Who's Kandel? What's NCCJ? The point is, they're amazing. We watched this documentary about them. They're amazing. So, Andrea, please talk about it all. What does NCCJ, first of all, stand for? What did it used to stand for? What does it stand for now? Go.
Well, NCCJ was founded 90 years ago as the National Conference of Christians and Jews. And currently, in the early 90s, the name was changed because of the religious diversity in the country, certainly changed. And now we're the National Conference for Community and Justice.
And it all began because of the election,
Al
not
Smith.
this one, Al Smith versus Herbert Hoover.
Exactly. And Al Smith was running for the Democratic nomination, and all this anti-Catholic sentiment in the country arose.
Suddenly it was uncovered. It was always there, if this sounds familiar, but because he was a Catholic, suddenly it was all uncovered, everyone's true feelings, and there was such crazy negativity against Al Smith. By the way, he lost, or Herbert Hoover won. What a wonderful depression that happened. Right. And because of it, and because of the prejudice, NCCJ formed by whom, by the way? Who put it together?
Jane Addams, Thurgood Marshall, and Charles Evan Hughes.
By the way, I thought you were about to say Charo. I was like, are you kidding me? And it's a great organization. And basically what they were put together to try to basically say, like, let's stop the prejudice, right?
Exactly. Let's get together, that to celebrate each other's religion, whatever. And then it started to expand to do anti-racism work, gender equity work, address issues of homophobia, abilities. Now we do issues of class. So
the class stuff is amazing.
So now we address all issues of social justice.
And what it is, specifically what I saw from it, is that it's basically trying to stop it early on, and it's basically teaching kids about diversity, which I know sounds like, oh my God, they're always learning that, but it's teaching them in such an amazing, clear-cut way that I really think the message gets across. So what's the name of that program you guys do in schools?
Well, there's 2 programs. One is our middle school and high school program is called NCCJ Bridges. It's a 2-day prejudice reduction program and anti-bullying program. And there's 3 aspects, or the foundation of that program is threefold. One is to develop a positive self-esteem. The second is develop critical thinking skills in young people. Critical
thinking skills, people, so you don't just listen to the meme that you saw on Facebook or a certain channel which spews lies. Literally critical thinking, go like, how could this be true? If an enemy country is trying to elect someone, maybe the person they're trying to elect doesn't have our best interests at heart. Continue, please.
Exactly. And then the last is an appreciation of the other, whether it's race, religion.
The movie The Other? Oh, just The Other, because I remember that movie. It was amazing. Oh, Who's Ever Not Like You is what they teach. So wait, one is called The Bridge. That's from middle school.
Bridges. And then it's NCCJ Anytown is our year-long social justice program that begins with a week residential experience with like 80 to 100 young people, high school students, 14 years through 18 years old. And
which, by the way, sounds like torture to me when I was that age. I did not want to be with other kids for a week.
Life-changing. Actually, I want to tell you a story if I...
You may.
Oh, good. So we had a young woman, Carla Jones, 14 years old, really tiny, plump cheeks, come into the program, entered the camp, didn't talk at all, very silent for the first few days. And during lunch one day, I asked for 2 volunteers for the following week to be able to go talk to Hartford business leaders. They had to make a speech at a luncheon about their experience here. So Carla raised her hand, as well as this young white man with bright orange hair.
What color is Carla?
Carla's African American.
Okay.
Thank you. I forgot that piece. So we have talent night, and Carla started singing, and you would have thought the voice of God was coming through her. She was an amazing gospel singer. So one of the last days there at NCCJ Anytown, we started to address issues of heterosexism and homophobia. And some of the fellow campers started to come out, some of our staff came out, and Carla started to cry, and could cry. And we sat with her, she wouldn't talk to us, just cried and cried. So when the day came for her to come and talk to these business leaders.
Oh, you actually chose her, the one silent person? You're like, you'll be perfect. Okay, so already the story's crazy. Okay, go on.
Yeah. So anyway, so she shows up with this young white man with bright orange hair, and he goes first, and he gets up to the mic and he says, oh, this was the best experience of my life. I loved it. You know, thank you. This was just great. And then she gets up and she says, I want to tell you about the hard part of Anytown. She goes, one of the last days at the camp, we started to talk about issues of heterosexism and homophobia. And I'm a girl of Christian faith, strong Christian faith. And I was always taught this was wrong. And then my fellow campers started to come out, and I didn't know what to do because I already loved them. So I went home and I prayed. And what I realized is it's not my job to judge, but my job to love. And I want to thank NCCJ Anytown for that. And with that, she and the young white man with bright orange hair, who is gay, walk off the stage hand in hand, and I'm crying, and I run up to her, and I was like, where are the two of you going? This was just wonderful. And she goes, oh, we're going to the mall shopping. That's what we do, is we connect people to their humanness. So it's beyond the labels, beyond the stereotypes, that they get to see each other for who they are.
I guess two things, like how do schools find out about it, and how are schools going to go like, we can't afford it? Like, what do they do? Like, what's the deal? What's the process?
Yeah. So we partner with schools in Connecticut and also Western Massachusetts. And
but aren't you national?
We actually have regions or offices around the country, and they could call our office or go to nccj.org, and they're listed there.
And they can get the material. Okay, so you can do this anywhere in the country, but you yourself are doing this
in Connecticut.
Okay, continue.
Yes. So and so schools can conduct. We actually go out to schools if we hear there's an incident, or we really try to get urban and suburban schools together. So that's really an important kind of mix for us.
Oh, you mix urban and suburban schools together.
Absolutely.
It's good because it really takes away prejudice. Like I remember, like maybe I was in group therapy, but I remember just looking around the room and not even realizing it, but I was like, oh, that person's at this, that person's at that. And then they were talking and I was like, oh my God, I was so not correct with what I assumed based on basically their outfit and their posture. Like you can't help it, just, you're not even being a bad person, quote unquote. You just have life experiences and you think, oh, that person is a this. But until you take them individually, you don't really realize it.
I love the bumper sticker, you don't have to believe everything you think.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. You don't have to believe everything. Yeah, that's 100%. So, by the way, the benefit wound up coming out great. And I didn't tell you, but the band, I had my musicians come, like they wanted to know where to watch the whole documentary because we showed a little section of it. They were like, where do I get to see the whole thing? Because it's a great documentary. So where can we actually see that? Where can people go to watch that?
The documentary is called Unlearning, Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges, and you can go to cptv.org.
Okay, so and by the way, if you're like, wait, what are they talking about? Just email me and I'll tell you. But it's cptv.org, and it's an amazing documentary about the organization. It's called Unlearning who?
Unlearning, Breaking Barriers, Building Bridges.
Okay, we gotta change NCCJ, and we gotta change that title because there's not even a verb in it, or there's a gerund. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, it's quote unquote all good. All right, so schools can get involved, and what about just adults that aren't in school that are just like, I love this idea?
We do diversity training. We're at businesses, corporations doing inclusion, workplace inclusion workshops, and discussions on race and racism. Absolutely.
And it's not like I just feel when people hear this, they're like, oh, it's so granola and boring. It's not. It's actually really fun and involving.
And it's vital.
Well, that too, by the way.
It is vital. We have got to.
Especially today.
Yes.
Yeah, like if only it was like a requirement. Like, why isn't ethics a requirement anymore in school? Like, yeah, all right, that part's a downer. So we're going to work towards that. There's always hope for the future. Let's just remember that we've been through the fall of Rome and things rose up again. So it's like there is hope for the future, people. So nccj.org. Thank you very much, Andrea Kandel.
Thank you.